So what did you immediately become a teacher? And did that appeal, the teaching aspect of the Sacred Heart at the time?
But I never even thought of that. I never thought a religious life as something that I would actually do. I mean, so ridiculous. I simply thought of it in this mystical way of a relationship with God. And so the fact that I would actually spend my life doing something, it kind of didn't even kind of enter my radar screen. I don't know. But anyway, I was obviously going to be teaching. And I learned that pretty young along. And I didn't know whether I'd be any good at it, but I did my best. And I loved it. I loved teaching. I learned to love it, doing it. Because I loved the children.
Right.
I mean, they were wonderful. Young people full of life and full of energy and creativity. And I spent the whole of my first 5 years at Narogin, which was a total boarding school. Weekend as well as every other day of the week. And I really plunged in, at the deep end of society's life. Learned of it by doing it.
Right.
And it was wonderful. It was wonderful.
Now,
and I still am in touch with some of the girls I knew then. Yeah. It was a life for them.
Is that school still exist, that boarding school?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. No. I think that it finally became I think it probably was sold to some developer who then put 3 or 4 beautiful homes on that point. It's a long neck point, sticking right out into the Long Island Sound. It's a beautiful, beautiful spot.
Okay.
I think we were given it. The society received it as a gift by somebody who left it to us, Anson Phelps Stokes. And it was left to us, I think, in his will. I'm not quite sure about that, but I know that it was a gift. We didn't buy it. We didn't look for it. It just was given to us as a gift.
Now, did you take to community life? How did you feel about living with all these other sisters then called mothers?
It's really funny because I think religious life to me was such a mystical sort of experience of a union with God that I just took the fact that you had to live in a community as a sort of a necessary evil. I went along with that.
And
I never would have thought of entering a group of women and having to live with women all my life. I don't know. I don't think I was really thinking straight in those days. I think I just was in love with God, and I thought, let me give my whole life to God right away. Right.
And did you have challenges in the beginning where you had to pray over girls that you were concerned about, or?
Well, Narogin at the time was a total boarding school, so they were there weekends as well as weekdays, and their regime was that Thursday and Sunday were their 2 days off, not the whole weekend. So we had classes on Saturday. And it was a very total regime. I mean, I think that the girls who were there either loved it or hated it.
Right.
Because they couldn't be indifferent to it.
Right. It was so full. So the first 5 years you taught at, and the name of the school again is?
It was always Convent of the Sacred Heart.
Convent.
And that was Convent of the Sacred Heart at Narogin, Connecticut.
Okay. And then
I spent my first 5 years.
And then the next, and what, did you teach high school then, English?
Yes, it was just the 4 years of high school, yes. So I taught third academic and Latin and French, and I can remember.
All right. And the high school girls were well behaved? They were okay? They weren't too difficult?
Oh, they were wonderful. Wonderful.
All right,
and they formed friendships for life. I mean, it was really a tough regime for them. Here they were, full of their adolescent energies. You know, we had good teams. They had good field hockey teams and basketball teams, and so it was a kind, as far as it could be, it was a healthy way of life for them. They were kept busy, so busy that they were falling into bed before the lights were out.
Right, right.
You know, they were so tired from having to do so many things and work so hard and get all their homework done.
And did you develop friendships with the sisters, with your fellow or mothers called then?
Well, actually, I did later on, but I think the early years were the years pre-Vatican II, in which our life was very cloistered and very contemplative. And our religious life was very formal. You know, we didn't make friends among ourselves. We just lived a life that was very formal.
So, if I'm thinking that early on in the cloister, there was silence. Is that correct? That after the school day, silence, that you didn't speak to one another?
Yes. Oh, yes. We kind of had not a vow of silence, but the idea was that you only spoke to one another in case of necessity. I mean, you had to communicate. So, if you needed something or you talked about something, there was a special place that you went to. We didn't talk informally with each other. But if we had something to say, you know, we'd call each other aside and communicate whatever we had to say. But it was a very contemplative life.
So meals were in silence, for instance. You ate in silence. And,
and you know, the children really lived that life too. We woke them up at 6 in the morning, and maybe it was 6:30. I'm not quite remembering, but we had 7:15 mass, and they were all down there every single day at mass, coming in as the whole school. It was a really Spartan regime for them.
And you must have woken up at 5 then, or so, to pray.
Yeah, that's right. That was right. And because our own hour of prayer took place before we got the children up. Right.
And did you pray together, or did you pray in your room?
No, individually, wherever we happened to be. And I actually was in one of the dormitories, so I would get up and get dressed and come out, and I prayed kneeling in the corridor outside on the 3rd floor of Neurotin, where the children were still asleep. So my prayer was over by the time I woke them up.
All right. So you prayed in the corridor on your own?
Uh-huh.
Okay, not with your fellow nuns. And was there some sort of nightly saying of the Psalms or anything like that? Did you have...
No, we never did go in for that. Our life was really built on the idea that prayer was a communication between yourself and God, and we had an hour of prayer in the morning before Mass, and then we had said the little Office of Our Lady, which was about 15 minutes, and then Mass, and we had half an hour of prayer in the afternoon when it was supposed to be before the Blessed Sacrament. So it was, you know, St. Madame Sophie was very clear about that. Our life was based on prayer and the interior life.